Okay, so now we are live. Sir, is the recording started? Recording we started. Okay. So should we start?
Yes, done everything.
Okay. संजय सर आपकी ना वीडियो अटक गई है. If you have signal, can we start?
Yes, you can start now.
Okay. Okay. Hi and good evening to one and all. I, CA Neha Agarwal, General Secretary, Voice of CA, welcome you all today to today's bullet webinar on opportunities for CAs after qualifying, practical aspects and Q&A. Our eminent speaker for today is young CA Rahul Jain, who is currently global tax head at OYO and has had stints with TikTok, EY, and ASA and Associates. So I also have CA Sanjeev Chaudhary with us today. I welcome you, sir. Thank you for joining us. And of course, our founder of Voice of CA, CA Sanjay Agarwal, is also with us. Sir, I would like you to please give some welcome remarks to our participants today.
Thank you, CA Neha. I also welcome CA Rahul Jain and my elder brother Sanjeev Chaudhary ji for this bullet program which Neha has initiated. And I know it that today being the busiest day for the webinars, etc. In ICI, we have many seminars today. And I was just talking to Sanjeev bhai that I think we have broken the record of having the number of seminars also. So viewers, as you all know that at Voice of CA, we try to do some of the things which are unorthodox and some of the things which we lead always to be the first. So today also, in respect of the newly qualified chartered accountant, there is a dilemma always whether I need to go in practice, I need to go in service, or I need to be an entrepreneur. As you all know that this year I have 3 charge in my Institute of Chartered Accountant, and one of the charge is the committee on member in public services and entrepreneurship. So in this, what we are doing is this: we try to do various programs on wherein we make CA2 we can say civil servant like IS, IRS, etc., and Indian cost accountants also. And then we have entrepreneurs. So we are doing a lot of initiative there also for making our member as entrepreneurs. And tomorrow we have also a small program for that entrepreneurship and CA2 civil servant. So this is the one aspect for which CNEA has initiated, and we have requested CN Rahul Jain for deliberating on this aspect, whether what line and what the life starting, how we should do it. And Sanjeev bhai will also put some light because he has a vast experience of dealing both as an employee, as an entrepreneur, and as a council member. And he is having a 360-degree experience on all this. So, friends, let us see to this that we devote our time on the academics. And congratulations to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Congratulating all the newly qualified chartered accountants again and newly convocated chartered accountants as well who actually qualified in the last attempt and got convocated very recently in their respective areas. Quickly introducing Rahul. Rahul is a professional with over 13 plus years of experience in the industry. He's very active on all social media platforms and talks about valuable learnings, practical tips, and news updates on the ever-evolving field of tax. He loves to stay amongst young professionals and show them the right direction in confusing times. That's the most important thing. I don't think there can be anyone better than Rahul to take up the concerns of newly qualified members on what is what, job is better or practice is better, what kind of job is better for your profile, or domain is important or money is important. I hope we can take up all these questions for you. We welcome you on Voice of CA for the first time, Rahul, and I hope that we keep keep calling you again and again. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Neha. Thanks, Sanjay sir, for giving me an opportunity to speak to the young chartered accountants. First of all, congratulations to all those. But before I begin, I would request Sanjeev sir for his introductory remarks so that we can begin then the discussion.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sir, you are on mute.
I'm so used to be sitting muted at home. I forget to unmute myself always. So, and right in. But coming back, I think Rahul and Neha, a great way to, guide the members. I think I always tell people that real difficulty starts when you pass the exam, because till the time you're passing the exam, you are between the exams and the results. The real test is when you get your exam result and when it says you're a chartered accountant. Then the real journey starts as a chartered accountant as to what you need to do. Just 2 or 3 points quickly. I'll take a minute, not taking away any of your time. I think whether you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to do a job, I think initially, even if you want to get into a job, it is fine. You must get a feel. You may take a couple of years to think through what you want in life. And don't be afraid to change course. That's one point, because it is good to change course than to live a problem all your life. I used to be in a small firm, very proud of the small firm. Small is only size. People are the same, whether it is a large firm or a small firm. I did all my learnings from that firm. Worked in a large firm, done both. Unfortunately, I've never worked, Rahul, on the other side, as you kind of now, in the industry. And wish all the very best. At a very great place, doing well. It's never easy to, succeed. I think hard work is the key to a lot of things. There are no short-term gains. Don't look at short-term gains. There is always a long-term benefit. You need to work hard. Integrity and ethics is very close to my heart. Keep that in mind. Learn from others. Go and talk to people. Take their advice. Like we'll hear Rahul today. And even if you have to change your course after a few years, please do that. Don't think that today if you decide practice, then it is only practice. No. Get into a job, do the learnings, learn, and then get into practice if you want to. Get into a job if you want to. Be open about it. Be honest about it. Look at your strengths. Don't look at what a person next door is doing. Just because he or she is doing practice, don't do that. Just because he or she is doing a job, don't do that. Decide for yourself. And now, if there's anything, I'll come back in the end for a minute if required. But otherwise, thank you very much. And thank you, Neha, also. Happy to listen to both of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I think you have already summarized the entire session, I would say. The key things from your input, which is also a learning from me. Hard work is always the key mantra for the success. You can still change the course. It's a lifelong journey. You learn something maybe from the experiences, and then you reflect upon, and then you take on the next journey. I think this is the summary of the entire session, which sir has also given a learning from me as well.
Thank you very much.
So let's start for the participants, I guess. So what we have done, me and Neha, we have prepared a very brief presentation, which is more so our talking points. So that we can initiate a discussion, and it would be more of a discussion. I would request all the participants to keep writing their doubts, and once we open the floor for Q&A later on, in the last 15 minutes of the session, then you can easily ask your queries, right? So keep writing down your queries, and then we can take up your queries later on. So yes, so congratulations to you all. So it's one of the introductory message for all of you that the journey has just begun. This is one of the destination that you have achieved. This is not the final destination, right? So don't just stop here. You need to, I would say, keep upgrading your skills. Theoretical life has just ended in terms of the clearing the CA exams. Now you need to upgrade your skills from the experiences perspective. And I'm sharing one of the rule which I'm very also follow for myself, and I learned from the book written by the renowned author Robin Sharma. And the rule says that image, which says I innovate, Innovate says that you need to challenge the status quo, right? Don't just accept whatever the things comes in front of you, right? You need to improvise on the solutions. You need to think sometime out of the box. I'll give you one of the example from my own experience, that when I started in the year 2010, post my qualification, and I was in the tax division, and we were at the time preparing the reports or the advisory reports in a Word format. But I challenged that status quo and presented that report in a presentation, in a PPT format, in a kind of 5-page or a 6-page PPT. And that's how you innovate, and the client really accepted that. So make sure that you keep innovating yourself, improvise, and seek the new solutions. That should be your one of your thought process. Second, M stands for mastery. Always go for the achieve your skills in that sense that you need that nobody can ignore your work. You carry your own brand, whether it's your email communication, whether it is your word communication, or whether it's your oral communication. If you are presenting before anyone, right? So you achieve the mastery in a sense that nobody can ignore your work. So work for the mastery. Don't work just for the sake of it. Try to achieve the mastery in your work, whatever you do. A stands for the authenticity. And how do you build the authenticity? Build trust. Remain genuine and always keep your promises, whether it with your peers, whether it's your friends. Remain authentic in your character, I would say. G stands for guts. Be bold, take courageous decisions, and also seize opportunities, and be confident enough to take the decisions. And last but not the least, E for ethics, which Sanjeev sir has also highlighted, that always uphold your values, maintain the honesty in every endeavors. So this rule is very critical, which I personally follow as well, which I call as image, right? So in the second slide, what we have done here, we have identified a few factors, I would say, or I would say the parameters, because there is no single mold that can apply to every individual of defining their own path. Because what I believe personally, that every individual is unique. Every individual has their own skills, have their own expertise, right? So you cannot just follow one person, that one person is following one mold, then I'll just simply follow that person and also achieve the same success. I'll give you one example which I got to know from many individuals, because I keep mentoring the CA professionals and more so the newly qualified professionals. There was one example that somebody in his family mentioned to him that there is one relative who has just who has been qualified and is working very good in investment banking, and he is earning good. So you should also focus in investment banking. So at that time, I asked him that, is it your interest area? Do you really like investment banking? Do you know what is investment banking? So he was clueless. So the point here is that you can take inputs from the others, but you cannot follow the same mold, because every individual is different. So that is the reason why what we have done here, we have tried to capture some factors. First, try to identify your interest areas. So when I say interest area, that means which areas do you see that you would be able to excel, or that creates your curiosity? Because if you are curious enough, you will be able to go deep dive and learn actually, right? So I'll give you again my example in my interest area was always been tax. I was not that much inclined towards the audit, right? So I was very much clear that I do not like audit, I do not like assurance. I want to excel in the tax, and tax has always been my area since 2008 when I started my training, qualified in 2010, and still I'm doing the taxes, right? So very initial, in my initial stages only, I identified my interest area that I want to excel in tax. And then whether it could be job, practice, that's a separate issue. So identify your interest area. It could be tax, it could be audit, it could be GST, corporate tax, M&A tax, risk advisory, forensic audit. So there are lots of areas. So you need to understand what your interest area lies. That is very critical to analyze. And I would suggest that only you can answer your interest area. As a mentor, we can help you to identify once we ask you questions that how do you say that this is your interest area? Because this question will also come up in your interviews. I'm telling you because I've done many interviews in my journey. One of the interviewer actually asked this, why are you choosing this field? Because you just qualified as a CA. Why are you choosing an M&A tax? Why are you choosing an investment banking? Why are you choosing a direct tax or a GST? So if you are honest enough in your interest area, you will be able to answer that. If you are not honest enough, you will fumble that at the time of answering that query, right? So please make sure, write down, analyze yourself, what are your strengths or what are your interest area. And second, in terms of the exposure, what you have in your articleship, because that is also very crucial, because that really helps you, because 3 years journey really helps you to understand that which area you like, whether you like audit or GST or maybe corporate tax and as well. So make sure whatever learning you have done in your articleship as well, summarize all the entire learning and think through that what you really like most, and try to start your career in that zone at least for a period of next 1 year or at least for the next 2 years, because at this point in time you need not take a decision for the entire life. As Sanjeev sir has already mentioned that you can always change the course, try to explore yourself in the very first year, in the second year. So you can change the course, right? It's not a decision of a life. It's a decision, I would say, for the first step. Journey always start with a one step at a time. So don't take a pressure from that perspective. I have to take a decision now for the entire life. No. So I would suggest that whatever area you have been working in your articleship, try to start with that area moving forward, so that it can help you crack the interview, because you can justify before, or you can mention to the interviewer as well that this area you have worked and that's why your interest area lies and you want to learn more and excel more. So that could be one of the factor. Third, money. Yes, this is also an important factor, and I want to talk about this factor. See, there are different types of firms: Indian firms, mid-tier firms, top 10 Indian firms, big fours, and the pay scales are very different for every firm. And the roles may be different, the profile may be different, the clientele may be different. And because of that, the money comes in. I would say the CTC are different, right? So if you ask me from my experience perspective, at this point in time, you should focus more on 1 and 2, focus more on your learning, focus more on those areas that can help you excel in your career ahead than just money. Because I'll tell you, when I qualified in year 2010, I was working in ASA and Associates, and I gave an interview in EY as well. I started my training in ASA and Associates. But post qualification, I gave my interview in EY transfer pricing team, right? And I got the offer as well. But eventually, I got to know that at the time, the offer which was given by ASA and given by EY was only an annual difference of 2 lakh, not much difference. So if you see, it's 15,000 or 20,000 per month, not much, right? Then I calculated that what could be the interest area that I really want to work on. And at that point in time, I realized that TP is not the area because it's very niche. I want to work from a corporate tax and international tax perspective. And that's how I choose the corporate tax and international tax, but with a less salary. So it's a decision which I took 14 years back, right? And if you ask me now, it really doesn't matter much, because at the point in time, once you grow in your life, once you become an expert in your area, the money will flow in, right? So don't go just after money, in that sense that let's say your interest area is in tax, but you also give an interview in audit, right? And audit is giving you more is giving you more CTC, then you just follow money. But your interest is not in audit, right? You will not be able to survive for the period. You will not be able to learn. So money could be one of the factor, but not an important factor. Important factor should be your learning areas, where you want to excel.
Just adding one thing over here, Rahul.
Please.
So there are, of course, always practical circumstances that come into the picture. So there could be somebody who has some practical difficulties or some circumstances where they have to choose money over learning. So if you have to do that, then that's something that you have to do. वो मतलब उसमें फिर पीछे मुड़ने की बात नहीं होती है. वो तो फिर उसके बाद अगर पैसा पे चूज करना है ओवर डोमेन तो करना ही पड़ेगा. लेकिन दैट शुड ओनली हैपन इन अ सर्कमस्टेंस जहां पर आपके पास और कोई चॉइस नहीं है. अदरवाइज डोमेन शुड ऑलवेज टेक a primary place over money, at least in the start.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And just to add on this, that even if it's a last option for you guys that I have to go for the money, make sure then you give it all your energy to that division or to that domain. because you have accepted the money, that's okay. Now it's like every month it will flow in. Now that you have to give your entire 100% to that domain. Make sure you come out flourishing in terms of that you have excelled in your that domain. You have learned through, and the hard work will be there, right? So money, you have got it, but make sure that it really helps you in your career going ahead. And you never know, you found the a gold mine in that sense as well, in terms of the profile, right? So I'll give you one example on this, because I've been mentoring one chartered accountant last year. So what he did, he was having two options. Two options, whether to join PwC in the field of direct taxation, and he was having a second. He was having an option to relocate to Mumbai, join a PE firm, private equity firm. Both are different. Both domains are different. One is PE, and one is corporate tax. Eventually, he worked for 3 months in that PwC. He didn't like that. He quickly took a switch, went to Mumbai, took that job, and money was not that much different, right? So, interest areas you can identify, money, even if it has to be the all important factor, make sure you excel in that domain, right? Now, the important part, which is beyond the books, which is this mindset, and which is very important for myself as well. I keep telling to my those who approached me that your mindset has to be very entrepreneurial, in that sense that even if you're doing a job, right? If you're doing under an employment, you need to have that a kind of a business mindset. That means that you're working for solutions. You're working for your own growth. Be selfish in that sense. At least don't hurt others, but be selfish for your own growth. Upgrade your skills, upgrade your professional skills. Keep reading. I still, if you ask my example, every day from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. before I start my office starts at 10:30, because by the time all the colleagues comes in at 10:30, I reach office at 9:30. Every first hour, I spend time reading about the case laws, whether it is direct tax, whether it's transfer pricing or GST. I still keep reading. So it's all about the mindset. You need to have your entrepreneur mindset, upgrade yourself, upgrade your skills, be it communication skills as well, right? Nobody will give you an opportunity to grow. You have to seek opportunities on your own. So consider yourself as a business, that if you want to run your own business, how would you do that, right? So your mindset is very critical. And I would say, don't follow the herd. If somebody is going towards one division, let's say he wants to work in a GST, don't just follow blindly. You need to see that whether your interest area lies or not, whether you can upgrade your skills in GST division or not. So this mindset is very critical. Entrepreneur, solution oriented, always upgrade your skills. Keep working on yourself, right? Sir, you want to add on something on this, Sanjeev sir? I think you open the video. Okay.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So last, I think, which is again from my experiences, identify your mentor. Because this has really helped me in my own professional journey. I have always identified my mentors, whether I was in ASA, in EY, in ByteDance, in OYO right now. So I had my mentors, which I called them as a board of advisors. I have my own board of advisors. One is professional, one is personal board of advisors. Personal means my family, mom and dad. But because you can't take a professional advice from personal board of advisors, understand the perspective. Because I'll tell you, my father is a businessman. He doesn't know much about the CA field, or I would say the CA, how the things work in the CA fraternity, how the things work at the corporate level. So that's why you need a professional advice, the person who has been through that journey, like Sanjeev sir, like Sanjay sir, right? So you need to identify those mentors who can help you professionally. Because at times we go to those persons who have not been in those areas. For very simple example, if I ask my dad about a career switch, whether I go from industry to consulting, whether I should start my practice, I think he can give you a life perspective based on his experiences, but he will not give you the professional experiences, right? So identify your mentor. And the mentor, how do you define your mentor? A mentor is a person who is basically 2 or 3 or 4 or 6, not much, 6 years ahead of you. because he has lived your journey. He must have faced the same issues like you, right? So identify your mentor. And I'm telling you, just like my mentors have been so kind to help me in my own professional issues, in my own skills as well. And I think a mentor never say no. I'm telling you, just is the mentee. It's like participants. You have to take a step ahead and ask a query. I'm telling you, you will always get an answer, right? So I think these factors are very critical, although they are not exhaustive, but these are very important factors for you to decide your career path. And it's not a stress. You are not taking a decision for your life. You are just taking a decision for your next step. Okay. Next, what we have done here, we have just listed out some options available with you, which sir has already kind of summarized. That could be, you may opt for an employment or a job, maybe any big four firm, mid-tier firm, top 10 Indian firm, right? You can start your own practice. You can obviously do your business and go for further studies. So again, there are options which you can opt for. But I'll specifically talk about two things, job and own practice. Then I'll switch to entrepreneurship, because the comparison is a bit different. Because once you do a comparison between job and own practice, that means you are still in that mold of a CA professional, right? But once you go into the field of entrepreneurship, that means in a way you may start your own business, you may start your own manufacturing or trading, or you may join your dad's business as well, or maybe any other thing, right? Which you have that mold as a CA, but you are doing much more than the field of what CAs do, right? So let's talk about the job and employment, right? So as a job, the CA ICA will also help you in the placements. Job opening will start coming through. I was also looking through some LinkedIn posts as well, and I see that some openings have come up for the newly qualified. So I think so maybe what I'll just quickly do here, I'll just so this is a quick comparison. It may not be very exhaustive, but just for discussion purposes. So see, if you, for the job, it gives you like an immediate return, that the money will flow in, right? No investment in terms of setting up for any infrastructure, right? There are learning opportunities because you are working in a corporate, you learn the policies, you learn the management and all that. You define your own career growth, you choose your domain, and you have a career path. Because in corporate, you will see that there are defined corporate paths. For example, in EY, you have 2 years consultant, then after 2 years, senior consultant, then you become manager, then you become senior manager, then director and partner and all that. That is a defined career path in the CA firms, right? And then at the time of at least once you opt for a job, you need not require to do I would say the extensive networking, but networking is one of the key to be done over the period of your journey. But these are quick advantages. When you come to own practice, it's a different area, because you run your own show, you run your own business. This is for the long-term growth, right? And as a practice, you cannot restrict yourself, at least at the initial level, that you restrict yourself in a one domain, whether it is direct tax or GST. On this, I'll give you an example that one of my mentee, he was ex Big Four, but he has to go to his hometown in Lucknow, and he was starting a practice in direct tax. And he mentioned to me that that Rahul, I'm not able to get the clients, more so in international tax, because I learned international tax in Big Four. Then I mentioned to him that in Lucknow, you cannot get the clientele of international tax. Understood that there's a problem. I know that you want to do a practice, but you need to get to the ground reality, right? So you cannot be into the international tax only. Then I suggested him learn about direct tax, learn about individual tax return, learn about GST, upgrade yourself. And by then you can approach to the client in different aspects. If he wants a GST work, I'll get it done. If he wants an ITR, I'll get it done. And that's how you build the practice. So it's a diversified portfolio to start your own practice. And then once later on, once you have a team, then you can build on or build your own divisions and all that, right? Now, in terms of the disadvantages, I would not say per se a disadvantage, because everything has its own pluses and minuses. And it's like every area has its own plus and minuses. It's like which minuses you can accept, right? you have to accept those minuses to get to that pluses. Okay. So in terms of job, you know that obviously in job, you may get to one division, right? You may need to deal with the corporate issues as well, or maybe team specific issues. Maybe there could be work-life balance, but I'll tell you, I can talk about half an hour about what work-life balance for me as well and what is work-life. But I will not touch this topic of work-life balance. So job has its own issues in terms of traveling, in terms of team specific culture and all that, right? In terms of practice, you need an investment. You need to spend some time. There is a gestation period of at least 1 to 2 years to get the money come in, right? And you need to have that management skills as well to run the organization, because it's not just the technical skills. You need to lead the team as well. So I just summarize on this very quickly. What I believe here, that you may have your long-term goal was to start your own practice, right? And it's a good to have that to start your own business. But what I'm suggesting here is that at least for a period of 2 years, start your opt for job, learn about the how to get the things done from a corporate perspective, learn about processes, learn about policies, learn about management skills. If your ultimate goal is actually the CA practice, because in the job you can also build your network, and in practice, the network helps to build the practice, right? So your perspective should be that at least for 2 to 3 years, go out, join a corporate, that may start in a job and build your network, learn about all the skills. Now the decision could be whether should I join Big Four, whether should I join mid-tier firm, right? So on this, I would suggest that if you want to learn more about the management skills, how to run a firm, how to build the policies or the processes, because it will help you in own practices, you can skip Big Four, you can go for top 10 Indian firms, because I have been through that one of that from ASA, and I learned management skills, people management skills, the policies. I was with ASA from 2008 to 2015. I was managing the teams. I built the team. I built the processes, everything, and which is really helping me now as well. Even though I'm in job still, I'm not been in practice. So, and you can also join Big Four. You can learn about the corporate clients, the MNCs clients, the international issues, and how do you deliver the technical reports and as well. But I'm telling you, the good top 10 or top 20 firms are also working on the same clients which Big Four is having, right? So don't just go blindly before the Big Four. If you get a good opportunity at a good Indian firm with good clientele and good career growth, you can still opt for the non-Big Fours. Okay. Now coming back to the entrepreneurship, I'll again give you a very real life example. When I was in EY, one of my trainee, Shivam Agrawal, his father runs a very good business. And once he cleared me, he asked me that should I go on joining that business, or should I stay here and work in the tax team or the corporate tax and international tax. Then only the one question which I asked him, that where do you see yourself in terms of 3 years? Then he specifically or categorically mentioned to me that I want to work and in my dad's business and want to build that business and take it to the international level, right? So I mentioned him that, do you think that this corporate tax practice or corporate tax learning can help you in that, because you have already learned whatever, at least the basics of the corporate tax in your internship, right? So I answered his query. I have not answered his, I have not taken the decision on his behalf, but he was very clear that at least from 2 years down the line, I will have to run the business, right? So I told him that you know the laws now, you know you're a chartered accountant, it will still remains with you. You know how to do a hard work, you can take it to the next level. So why don't you join now and work with your dad? So I think it's always a good option, that it's not like that if you're cleared a CA, you have to do a job or you have to do a practice. You can still run your business, you can still start your own startup if you want to, right? It's not a dedicated mold that you have to do a CA practice or you have to do a CA job. You can still start your own business. Or you may also start your own teaching. I have seen many newly qualified CAs started their own teaching course, because they are fond of teaching and all that. They have started their own YouTube channel as well, their academy. So that could be one of the options. So there are options are many as compared to my time when I qualified. The options were not that much in terms of education or businesses, right? Further studies, yes. I have my own reservation on further studies, but it's a debate topic whenever I debate with other person that why do you keep add on the degrees. So I just tell them that if the degree doesn't help you in upgrading your skills, at least earning money, I would say, or taking you to the next level. So I'll take an example that if I have to be in the board of directors of a company, I would rather be join a management course in ISB and IIM. Otherwise, I will not, because it will not help me, because or I just do a crash course in leadership. If I because I'm currently I'm at a leadership role, I can just live with the leadership role, right? So if you guys planning for do an LLB, make sure then that LLB degree helps you, so that it helps you in practice. You can take a law cases as well, right? So if you want to do a CFA helps you in investment banking. So make sure that CA and CFA adds up in investment banking. So utilize that your time and effort in that further study, so that can help your career growth as well. So I think I've summarized within the time, Neha. We can
Yes.
open the forum for all.
Yes, Rahul. In the meanwhile, while the attendees write their questions in the Q&A box, there are one or two things that I would like to share as well, if you allow. So,
Please.
You can just keep the PPT open
Okay.
as well, so that if there's something that I want to add over there. So there's a very common question that newly qualified chartered accountants ask me कि अगर मुझे प्रैक्टिस शुरू करनी है तो कौन सी skills होनी चाहिए. So very recently I had a call with somebody I connected over LinkedIn who's into a job. And at the time while talking to him, I realized कि हाँ कुछ ऐसी skills हैं जो बहुत जरूरी हैं if you want to start your own practice, because practice is exactly like business. सब कुछ खुद ही करना है, तो एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ वर्क तो आना ही चाहिए. एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं आएगा तो नहीं काम कर पाएंगे. पर उसके अलावा देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ अदर एडिशनल स्किल्स दैट आर रिक्वायर्ड इफ यू वांट टू स्टार्ट योर ओन प्रैक्टिस. नेटवर्क करना आना चाहिए. हाउ टू नेटवर्क इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हेन इट कम्स टू प्रैक्टिस. How to sell or market yourself or your skills or the skills you do not have and still marketing them. That is the reality. That is the reality of practice. The most important thing, which I think the most important skill when it comes to practice, is delegating work. अगर आपको किसी और से काम नहीं कराना आता, डेलीगेशन ऑफ वर्क करके काम करवाना नहीं आता, तो प्रैक्टिस में कभी कामयाब ही नहीं हो सकते, बिकॉज स्केल अप नहीं कर सकते. बिकॉज स्केल अप करना है तो डेलीगेशन ऑफ वर्क करना पड़ेगा. सो these are certain skills which I always tell somebody. अगर कोई मुझे ये पूछता है क्या ये प्रैक्टिस शुरू कर सकते हैं क्या, तो ये स्किल्स तो होनी ही चाहिए कम से कम.
Just want to add one point on this sales.
Yes, sir.
Sales skill is one of the most important skill in the world. One is the sales skill, and the second is the people skill. Because ultimately, if you have to run your own business, or if you have to go up ladder in the corporate job as well, both are important: sales skills and people skills. And I'll tell you, the sales skill will start from today itself, in the sense that even if you go for an interview, you are selling yourself. In a sense, you're selling your skills. That's why they will hire you, right? So it's a sales skill that has to be there in your armory, I would say. And then the second, the people skills. Without these skills, you will never grow.
Correct. And coming to the advantages and disadvantages between job and practice. तो इसमें एक when you say there is autonomy in practice, one has to realize कि हाँ autonomy in practice तो है, लेकिन you are answerable to your clients. तो वहां पर answerability आ जाती है. In your job you're answerable to your boss and boss's boss, but when it comes to practice you're answerable to every client you're dealing with, every client. क्योंकि वहां बॉस नहीं है बचाने के लिए. You are the boss.
Agree.
Yes. Just one more point on the career path available. As we discussed, Rahul. जॉब एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट में हमने कुछ बेसिक हम लोगों ने कुछ डोमेन्स ऐड करने की यहाँ पे कोशिश करी है. बट इन टुडेज सिनेरियो कोई एंड नहीं है डोमेन्स का दैट आर देयर इन द मार्केट राइट नाउ. ऑडिट, टैक्सेशन, फोरेंसिक और टैक्स ऑडिट या मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग को छोड़ के देयर आर 100 more domains that are available in the market. M&A है, foreign accounting hai, there's foreign taxation is also there. We are becoming one of the countries having maximum KPOs supporting the finance and taxation function for other countries. And I think we are moving in the right direction. And then we have audit के अंदर इतने सारे other internal domains हैं that one cannot stop telling अच्छा ये भी audit है, ये भी audit है, ये भी audit है, this audit is also available, this audit. हाँ, in some aspects कहीं कहीं पे audit का scope कम हुआ है as the law has been changing, but the types of domains that audit has उसमें भी कोई limit नहीं है. Then taxation also, it is not just अच्छा टैक्स बोल दिया तो taxation है. Taxation also has transfer pricing as one aspect. Taxation also has international transactions. Taxation also has of course indirect tax and direct tax. Or indirect or direct maybe further sub categories are there where you can go into compliances or you can go into litigation or both. So Rahul, do you think would you like to add maybe one or two other domains that are doing well?
So I think I'll add on that international taxation perspective, which we call as GCC, Global Capability Centers. What we have seen, one is the offshore accounting, then many foreign entities wants to have their accounting done or compliances done via Indian firms, right? That is one we call as an offshore accounting. I'm also seeing a change that they also inclined to hire Indian CAs for doing the taxation as well. Just like we do in OYO for we do compliances while sitting in India for the entire global operations, right? So we have that you can have that expertise as well and work in that domain as well, that you do the compliance for the APAC region, Europe region, America region. I'll tell you, I was working for ByteDance. ByteDance is now starting to set up, it could be a possibility they set up their own tax function, back office tax function for doing the global tax operations. Moody's have their own APAC tax operation sitting in India. So there are many entities I know, industry level, that they are actually setting up their own tax function in-house so that they can have their own compliances for global.
Right, Rahul. Right. So we'll wait for another 2-3 minutes. If any of the participants have any questions, you can put in the Q&A box. If you have any specific question or any personal question also, you can always take it up with Rahul. And in the meanwhile, I would request Sanjeev sir to maybe add some points. If we have missed something, it would be really nice.
So I think just a couple of points. One thing which probably is the need of the hour is, understanding the technology. You cannot live without it, like it or not. Everything is technology driven, AI driven. So even your tax practice, if you have to write submissions today, or if you have to read a judgment today, you go to Chat GPT 4.2 or whatever it is, 4.0, which is the paid version, and you can upload a judgment and say summarize it. A 200-page judgment can be summarized in maybe 2 pages or 4 pages. So I think technology is something which you need to always look at and take it in your stride. You can't live without it. That's one. I think Rahul spoke about mentorship. And I think you also mentioned about the mentee reaching out to the mentor much more than the other way around. That doesn't happen actually. So that's very critical to get guidance at the right time for a person who knows his job and not biased. That's very critical, and who is ready to spend time, because it requires time at the end of the day. You have to sit with someone and listen to him or her and give a response. I mean, I've actually known Ajay when he qualified in '92. So I've known him since then. I used to audit a bank which His father was chairing it actually at that time. New Bank of India, you may have heard the name or may not have heard the name. So I think it's required that you sit with the mentee. I've mentored a few people I have gone along. I still have a couple of mentors who I reach out to, talk to them. So I think that's very important. Networking is important. I don't believe in overselling. Somehow I'm a little more conservative in the present day world. I don't oversell, but I overdeliver. And when you say that in your job, you're not answerable, you're answerable to each and every client, that doesn't go away. Your own practice, you're answerable, you're the last word. But I have seen, whether I was in my earlier firm or with a large firm, a liaison office demands the same service as a GE would demand. So a GE Capital may be a GE Capital. I'm just taking an example. An OYO may be, having a liaison office, but a liaison office would also like to have the same quality of delivery of service as a GE Capital would want. So I think you're always answerable. That doesn't, it may change a little bit, but depending on where you are, but you're always answerable. You may be answerable to your superiors, but clients as well. Delegation is important. I think networking is important. Delivering in time is very important. You may delay your response, but go back to the client and tell him or her that, look, my response was supposed to come today evening. It will not come. It will come day after because of 4 reasons. And I can tell you 95% of the time, the client will not mind. The problem is when you don't respond, delay, then make excuses. It's good to go back. Good to say, look, I'm sorry it has taken more time. Good to acknowledge it. And I think try and deliver every time. Even if you don't 10% of the time, no client would feel bad about it if you go back in time and take the client into confidence. So that's some of the learnings. I think technology was the one which I thought I must share it because that's very critical for the present generation. We somehow, we didn't have computers in 1982 when I started. We had typewriters, where the balance sheets would be typed. And things have changed, right? So technology, I think, is very critical for all of us, me including. If I say that I will not embrace technology, then I'm finished. I'll stop here. Let some people ask questions. Happy to. I'm sure Rahul would respond, but there are a couple of points I thought I'll address.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And we have one question from Sahiti in the chat box. She's saying, I'm a recently qualified CA with experience in TP domain during my articleship. I'm currently seeking opportunities specifically within TP. Given its niche nature, I have some concerns about whether I'm heading in the right direction. I would greatly appreciate any advice you can give on this matter. Rahul?
I would request Sanjeev sir to maybe give that input later on. I'll add in. Or sir, should I start? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Right?
वो बोल रहे हैं आप बोलो
Achha. Yeah, okay. So yes, transfer pricing is a niche area to start with, but I think it's not that per se a niche area. It's transfer pricing. What I see is understanding the businesses, right? You understand the businesses and that work on the transfer pricing mechanism of that company or your client. So if you have an experience in transfer pricing, I think you should start with, it's a kind of a suggestion. You can start your career in that. But later on, after 2 years or something, you can also build or add up your expertise areas in terms of understanding more about international taxation as well. Because transfer pricing and international taxation works in hand to hand. I started my career in corporate tax and international tax, but during my journey, I learn about the transfer pricing. Then later on, I adds up to the GST. And that's how my career went switched from consulting to industry, because I added up my skills from transfer pricing to GST, regulatory, FEMA as well. Start with a niche and keep adding your expertise area. So international tax, because it works hand in hand, international tax would be easy for you to add on. Then you can also learn about corporate tax and it becomes a full-fledged tax profile.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sahiti, I hope Rahul was able to answer your query. If you have follow-up, please write in the Q&A box. So if there are any other queries from the participants, request you to please write it in the Q&A box. We'll wait for another 2 minutes to see, Rahul, if there are any other queries. If they are not, then we'll pack up.
We'll just wait, or maybe I'll just also the panel the participants can also connect with me via LinkedIn, yes, which is CA Rahul Jain, CA Rahul, yeah. And also I have a dedicated email ID for all the young professionals, which is carahuljain.in@gmail.com. The queries always it keeps coming to me over the email, and I try to respond on those queries. And also I have my own YouTube channel, which is CA Rahul Jain, which talks about my own experiences, what my learnings have been, and all that, right? And also talks about some personal finance topics as well. So you can also browse through those videos where you will see that I've shared my own personal experiences, what my learnings have been.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks. So if any of your friends or colleagues have missed this session, they can catch it at Voice of CA's YouTube channel. You can simply go and type Voice of CA on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the session over there, along with a lot of other sessions we have done since 2022 on almost every technical aspect and burning topic of the time. In fact, we are planning another Q&A session on the common issues that professionals are facing while filing ITRs, or the common doubts that they have. It would be a closed meeting that would happen on 19th. With CA Pankaj Sarogi and always our founder, CA Sanjay Agarwal, who would be taking up the practical issues of our members while filing the ITR, and if they have any litigious topic also, that would also be discussed. No recording for this event would be available, and we would not be live on YouTube. So if you want to join this, you would have to register yourselves in the meeting and join it. So yes, thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you for your deliberation, and thank you, Sanjeev sir, for giving your valuable inputs. I hope that a lot of newly qualified and convocated members would watch this video on our YouTube channel and can maybe gain some insight, and we can clear some, even if we are able to clear 1% confusion out of their minds, it would be great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha.
All
Thanks,
right.
Rahul.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.